This video is for people that are wanting to deepen their spiritual practices or maybe even try new spiritual practices that they have never tried before. Maybe you're feeling a little bit low. You might be wondering, what is your purpose in life? What is the meaning of your life? And you want to try some spiritual practices that you can start adding into your day that will completely shift your state of consciousness and how you feel. And if that is the case, then this video is made just for you. My name is Amy, and in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 transformative spiritual practices that have completely changed my life. Number 1 is practicing presence. And this is spoken about all the way through, the spiritual communities, self-help, self-development, all of that. This is spoken about so much, is becoming more present. And I started this in 2016. I started to meditate and learn about spirituality, and I was reading a lot of Eckhart Tolle, listening to a lot of Eckhart Tolle, and he speaks a lot about the power of presence and being in the now. And before I started practicing presence and meditation, I was completely identified with my thoughts. I had no idea that they even existed. I wasn't aware of them, so they were pretty much running the show. And I remember during this time when I started meditating, I basically went through a spiritual awakening. And what that means is I had a complete shift in consciousness and a realization that I wasn't just my thoughts. I was more than my thoughts, not separate from them, but I was the being that was observing the thoughts, and therefore I didn't have to be so identified with them and believe everything that was going on in my head all the time. And I remember during this time, my meditation practice became more consistent, and I remember going on a lot of walks in nature and just feeling so much more uplifted. I started to feel more self-esteem. I had more confidence. I was realizing a lot of patterns and subconscious beliefs that I had been clinging on to from childhood events. Many profound realizations and observations that I was having that were improving my life in so many ways. I remember going out on walks and just crying with happiness because I was feeling so much bliss, and I'd never felt that before in my life, just being alone. Really just having so much wonder and awe for nature and just life in general. So I highly recommend having like a little meditation practice or just practicing presence throughout your day. So number 2 is dance and movement. And this one has been incredibly powerful for me. It has pretty much changed my life in more ways than I ever expected. I pretty much grew up with the belief, up until about 2 years ago, by the way, I had this subconscious belief that I couldn't dance and that I was stiff and that I would never be able to dance. And I one day was watching a video, I think the YouTuber is called Christina Lopez. I'll double check and put it in the bio if not, but I was watching a video on how to connect to the divine feminine more. And one of the things that she said was to dance at night before bed in the dark. So when I started doing this, it completely changed my life. I went from being the stiffest dancer, not wanting to dance in front of people, like to the point where I realized how much I wasn't being myself because I was so restricted in my body when music would come on and I wanted to dance, but I felt so tense that I would never just let myself go. And through this practice of dancing, I was able to get more comfortable in my body, teaching myself that it doesn't matter how you move. Everyone moves in a unique way, and what someone else thinks about your movements is really their business and not your business. So this has changed my life in so many ways. I feel like I'm more myself. I feel like I really have connected to the divine feminine in a much deeper way, to the point where I see the divine feminine inside myself. One tip I would give you as well when you're dancing is to dance with your eyes closed sometimes and just notice how you're feeling when you're dancing, if you're like a visual person in the imagination, what are you seeing when you're dancing? And All of these are expressions, I think, of our soul. It's really, really interesting how much you can get to know yourself just by dancing and moving around. And I absolutely love this one. I would love to make more videos about this. Number 3 is journaling. And this includes writing gratitude lists, affirmations, all of that. I have been journaling since 2012. I never thought of this as a spiritual practice when I was younger. I remember seeing a girl in my school that had a journal and I was like, wow, her writing is so nice. It looks so satisfying to do that, so I'm going to do it. And I started writing every single day. And then I quickly realized how comforting it was to write. Because I was a child, I almost had this relationship with my journal as if it was my friend, and I would talk to it and I would almost like write little prayers in it. And I wasn't spiritual at all at this point, but I would write in it like what my desires were and what I wanted to manifest or what I wanted to bring about in my life. And because I was writing from such a young age up until now, I have seen such shifts in my being. It's like I have this catalogue of what I was like when I was younger to like now. Realize how much my spiritual journey had completely shifted who I was, my perspectives on the world, my perspectives of others and myself. I think the key with journaling is to write down whatever it is that you're feeling, no matter how bad it sounds, you don't want to judge yourself. There's no shame in literally writing out, I am like exactly how you're feeling, because to get it out onto paper, it doesn't mean that you have to believe everything that's saying, but you can start to empty out the contents of your mind. I actually have a step-by-step way that I alchemize my emotions when I'm in like a really low state. I like to write down exactly how I'm truly feeling before I write out affirmations, because you don't want to completely suppress how you're really feeling and just go straight to writing affirmations. Gratitude lists, really, really good as well for raising the vibration. And this has really helped me on my journey to improving how I feel. And this brings me to my 4th transformative spiritual practice that will shift your life. And that is having a morning practice. The reason why I say that a morning practice is so important is because when I don't do my morning practice, I notice a considerable difference within myself and my motivation levels, my self-esteem, just like my overall mood. I recently went on holiday. I went on a vacation to Morocco for about 5 nights. And I was really, before I went, in a good, solid flow, and I was getting up every morning, doing my practices. When I went to Morocco, I completely stopped. I didn't do any meditation. I didn't do any, I must have done like 1 breathwork session. I didn't do any yoga, nothing. And I didn't even do any dance really. And I realized when I came back how much my mind has like gone back, slipped back into these old patterns. I felt really low. I felt really heavy. I had all these fears around what I was doing that I thought I'd like cleared, but because I wasn't doing my morning practice, my old like beliefs and subconscious patternings that I haven't completely healed were just like coming back up. So as soon as I realized that I was back in this low state, I quickly started to try to get myself to get back on the spiritual practices, either by moving, shaking, doing a little bit of dance, doing some breath work in the mornings to just like break myself out of those patterns. Just on that as well, I don't go on my phone for like 2 hours in the morning, and I focus on just going inwards, listening to myself, how I'm feeling that morning, and maybe journaling about it. So number 5, this one's a little bit different. So number 5 is when I notice something about someone else that I don't like, I try to look within to see where in my life am I like that? Where in my life do I do the thing that I don't like about this person? And the reason why I think this is a spiritual practice is because you're going inwards. You're looking inwards to look at where this resistance is coming from. It might be that, and it usually is that, if you don't like something about someone, if you have a strong emotion to something someone else is doing, it's because you can't see it within yourself. So I find this to be an incredible practice for expansion and self-awareness. because, okay, one of the things that I notice that I don't like is when I come into someone's house and it's like really messy or they haven't cleaned. And I even have like a little bit of shame of talking about this. I feel bad for even feeling like that. But I think it's really normal, and everyone's different. Everyone has their own, level of like how much they want to keep things organized and stuff like that. So no judgment to other people, but this is something that I have worked on becoming more aware of, is not judging others when maybe they're having a little bit of rest time and they're not feeling like cleaning or doing something like that. And I had to really look within and see that I do have days like that. I do have days where I'm really messy, or I haven't cleaned my desk, or I haven't cleaned my bathroom in a few days, or something like that. And I think it's so easy to notice these things in other people, but when it comes to noticing these things within ourselves, if we don't like something, we tend to just like kind of suppress it within ourselves, just kind of say, oh, I'm not like that. Like, I've realized how human beings are messy. We get messy. We live on Earth. It's made of dirt. It gets dirty. Okay, so this is one thing that I wanted to transform within my psyche, because I noticed I had a bit of an ego around being clean and tidy, and this is something that can create separation between me and other people, and I don't want to be doing that. I want to be bringing about more closeness with others. So I hope this all made sense, and that is it for this video, guys. So I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. I'm going to be uploading more videos. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, let me know, but for now, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.